So welcome to the patient. I
Patient.
Patient. Patient.
Oh, we can do passion too. I mean,
No, I was pronounced the word wrong. I think the color really picked me up. Is that passion?
yeah.
Well, learning to be patient in a passionate way. How about that sound?
Interesting. I've never had that combination before.
Well, let's try the new way. So welcome to be patient. Oh my goodness. So this is my promise to self, the second code, and patience. I have to be patient to pronounce the word so that the word can come out. That is the key. So from here, I would love to explain a little bit about what's my promise to self here, because not everybody, when they listen to this, they will know. So my promise to self is a 12 codes or 12 virtue. I call it as a 12 leadership virtue that is for you to present yourself whenever you do your businesses or whether you have community or your clients or your work colleague. It's literally you. So what you are, those 12 code is what is a virtue for yourself to promise to be more present to yourself and to be more true of yourself for every part of you and in every part of your life. So that is how I journal this in, I think this year is the third year, and every single time is I learn a lot from each of the codes. So every month we will journey. When I say we will journey, it means that we're sharing what we're understanding, and then we will what we take away. So obviously that we do have a co-host as well, and also participant attendees, and we all just on the same page. We just on the same. It's just not that attendees you sit aside, you don't participate. No, whoever who put in the Zoom call, you all equal. But today we do have Andrea that is co-host with me, and I would love to present her straight into the point. Oh, Andrea, welcome, and to be a co-host for this month of June, right? Yeah, June. And before we start to kick off all the conversation, I also would like to welcome Kyle as well to the Zoom call here to connect with we all have conversation, and we'll have this like flow of conversation, and it's all about healing self. So I'll pass the mic to you, Andrea. So what is
Yeah, thank you.
patient to you? I mean, I love to go into the word and we dive down on that and then we expand on that. So yeah.
Why you having this word play with passion? I was thinking, is patience more difficult for passionate people?
I love that. I really love that.
Because with passion, there's some fire burning, and there was, some urgency in there, and then combine it with patience. Woo,
Oh yeah, I
that's
definitely
really leadership.
need to balance a bit. I'm feeling
Like,
I really
um, not the area I'm familiar with, but what I was thinking was is like being like in a military in a not so friendly action, and you have to wait. You can't attack yet. It's like that. You want to move forward or whatever, but you have to wait because you have to wait for the right moment, and you have to be patient. So
I really love that we bring
wherever you're a leader, you need patience. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, patience for me. As I'm with family at the moment, I noticed this is, apart from myself, family is the biggest trigger for me with patience, because these are the people where we usually tend to be um the most expressed reactively, you know what I mean? uh, with other people, somehow I think we give it a little more thought before we respond. But with family, somehow something in us still thinks, I can say what I want here. And later I can regret it, right? And yeah, no. Anyway, this is because I think it's also because that's the people you want the best for, and look, if you did it like this, and if you did this now, it would be good for you. And then if people don't want to do that, and you think, oh, but it would be really good for you now. That's the hardest, With other people, okay, they can do what they want, but these people, they are dear to you. So, yeah. So that's what I noticed. Yes, and yeah, and patience, of course, it's important. It's important to have patience. I always see patience together with compassion. That's one thing, and the other one is trust. Yeah. If I'm more compassionate, then I can feel more, okay, this is what it's like for this little one in me now. Okay, I understand. So she needs more time. Okay, it's like that. And the other thing is, okay, I trust. When I say, okay, I trust in the universe, I trust in divine timing, then I sometimes need to be patient and say, okay, this is not the result that I wanted to have. Okay, it needs a little longer. There's more necessary. Okay, it will develop. Okay. And then there's the trust in myself. And where I say, okay, trust versus self-doubt. Okay, I'm not doing this what I expected from myself now. I'm not doing it in the way. I haven't done it in the way that I expected it from myself. And I think it's like it's necessary to be like, to act like. Yeah, and now I say, okay, repeat. Or when can you do it? And do it then. Yeah, these are and flash forward 2 seconds what my topic is. Yeah.
It contemplates a bullet point and then
No teleprompter or whatever. Just choop, choop, choop. Bullet point.
But what you were sharing just now is you are self-regulating.
Yes,
Self-regulating.
self-regulating, but only with awareness.
Yes. Yes, correct. Because you aware that you are impatient and then you are trying
Right.
to use that and you understand how to self-regulate, which is really good. But I can see that when you self-regulate, things coming along, self-doubt coming in on the head on. So
Yeah, this is
because you aware.
what I'm aware of, that these are the kind of opposites, the opponents here in this game, Yeah. Because patience is really something that is not necessarily one of my really embodied qualities. It's probably the most challenging one. And this is why I said, when you asked me, oh yeah, you want to co-host, I said, yeah, nice challenge, let's do this. Because this is really, my second name would be impatience. But I've worked on it, so I'm getting better.
Oh, yeah, really good. I love that self-regulation because a lot of the time the self-regulation is awareness and then you self-talk. Like talking to yourself, just like you have like black and white on the shoulders, because you are having that conversation. You are trying trying to be safe. That okay, you let go because you're okay, you're actually letting go. Then your physical just relax a bit. But yes, you try to comfort yourself. And that is like compassion coming in as well, just like you said. So yeah. So I can resonate very deeply with that. So I like the way that you start with this passion, because a lot of the time that whether you have businesses or whether you working, and when you're creative, creativity people will always have passion wanted to produce. Or even though that if you work for corporate, it is also similar dynamic as I can bring into the corporate. The dynamic of the corporate that I experience is that's where my impression coming in. This is like prior to my doing my inner work. You sit down there, you're waiting for the paper to come to me so that I can collect all these collages of these board papers to present to my boss to attend a board meeting. Normally you will have sent an email, this deadline coming in, right? But after the deadline, no, before the deadline of that maybe 24 hours, you start to send email to the person. You say, hey, tomorrow is the deadline. Please submit your pre-read and agenda and papers that I need so that the boss need it, right? And then on the day, you receive zero, not even an email saying whether they're late or they forget or anything. And then I started to I started to get really, really worried and get anxiety coming in. Because if I'm late, in 48 hours, I need to send out the pack to the board members. And they are the investors of the company. So am I have not this anxiety? Of course, because it will be eating up my time. And then I can be working overtime. So that is that when this impatient coming in, and then you will get this anxiety, frustration. And then those things will slowly turn into anger and then blaming. And then when you like outburst to people are scared and that you don't understand, right? You try to do it, you try to, do all a very good time management and this management, that management, but come out there like, I have to do everything at the end. And you carry a lot on your shoulder. And that impatience is just getting bigger. So that is how I work. How I worked last time is and the nature of my job, it is literally loud. And loud and go to the say, now. And oh, okay, now. And then they will do it. So that mold into my personality. So I had a very, very little patience. And I get very fiery. So yeah. But by doing a lot of inner work and to let myself to regulate all of these, don't get frustrated. Listen deep to what's the need. Is I will go up to the person. I said that if you are busy, is any of your team members can help you? Because the paper is actually need to submit on this day. Because otherwise the cutoff, it is not mine, it is you that cannot present. Because for me, I will communicate to my boss. I said that Mr. A, B, C cannot submit the paper. So that is not doing your good. So is there anything that I can do to bridge that for you or to help you? Because sometimes they're also busy, right? So that is how I break down a little mini chunk. And like I said, okay, this agenda A can be this person. You just split it out and I got everything. So for me to be able to regulate my own, slow down, speak slowly, that make me even more patient.
Yeah.
Because I used to speak super quick. Huh?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
It's the expression of your inner fire.
Mm.
And my main tool of self-regulation is really doing the yoga in the morning, because then it's a kind of reset, and then I'm cooler. You always used to tell my mom, don't talk to me before I do my yoga, please, because then afterwards everything is easier, and my energy is different, and so everything that comes to me can be dealt with in a different way.
Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, this is, as I say, this is my tool, this is my inner work that I do. And so usually my colleagues say, you have got understanding for everyone. Oh no, how can you? Like, but this person, how can you find something good about that? You're always so calm. How, like how do you do this? Yeah, this is because it works.
And
Yeah.
you, Kyle, what is your stories about patience? Or your experience about your impatient and how do you become a patient?
Um, I think for a long time, I think I've been struggling with patience and being impatient in the process, because I used to, in my old processing, I used to just communicate with source, God, like whatever works for us, but source and universe, and be like, oh, it would be nice to, like, you know, work for Disney, or that was been my dream, and I would be a dreamer and be like, oh, imagine what it would feel like. And I would get so inspired and so creative, like in my mind and in my feeling, that I'm like, I thought that was enough for it to happen, like energetically behind the scenes, to like magnetize the right people to me and the connections and that. But then I wouldn't do the physical artwork and the work. So it was just like I was always getting inspired, and then just in that magical world, but not creating. So that was like that for many years. And then um and then I think because it's like with my work, I have to like think quick on my feet too. So it's like between worlds my whole life. So I would use my meditation in my dream world at work if there was like an intense customer, or if it was like overwhelming feeling with like just dealing with certain customers or whatever. So I would kind of like retreat to that magical world. And then I would do like the energetic work. And then I would get home and be so tired that I couldn't create because I'm exhausted. But it was like fulfilling and being in that magical world, and with the music that it was fulfilling to me of like what I needed to do to fill my cup up. But then that was probably for I would say from 2009 till 2000, and just before Sacred Heart Valley. So 2019, I was in that magical world and not really creating as much. So then I'm like, well, it's obviously not working what I'm doing because it's been so many years. And then I'm like, oh, let me try to switch things up and actually start creating. So this Easter, I started creating like nonstop. And I'm like, oh, now I understand it. Now I get it. So it's like kind of been like delays, right? Or in like just ways for me to kind of understand in my own timing. So then again, it was connecting to my nervous system and all of that. So once everything was kind of like more aligned, I was like, it was like ding, 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 ding. It was just like, oh, to create this, to create that, to create that, and that connects, and just utilizing my creativity more. So I'm like, oh, I'm finally getting it. And now I'm like nonstop creating, right? And I'm like, and then I get through these phases where I'm like, coulda, shoulda, woulda, and I'm like, I wish I would have done more creating when I like back then, but I'm like, but I needed to learn all of that to then create now and to like hold that space to create, right? Hold that energy so that I don't short circuit, right? So now I'm like, oh, now I get it. So, and then now it's just like, I do get impatient still because it's like, I think, like, for example, it's like clients, right? It's like trying to always think of creative ways to like help people be of heart service, but then to receive that compensation in like the heart, from the heart, just the expression of like money is like the extension of love, right? So it's just like building that relationship with it too. And I think that's been the whole patience part as well, from which is linked to from 2009 to like 2019 with like money and all of that, and creativity and worthiness and deservingness and cancel clear delete deservingness. Lily and I were talking about it today. Um that word. But no, it's all encompassing, right? It's all like that. It's all from the heart, right? So, and everything is linked. So, and then one thing touches everything. So I think it's just for me, creativity has been um probably the biggest challenge, with the impatience, being patient for things to settle within me, to heal, to like release, to let go of, to integrate, you know? So it's like it's finally amazing to like have that permanent change now, each and every day. So now there's just so many ideas now, but now I don't get as overwhelmed as I used to. And I just put it on paper or jot it down or do a quick little doodle. And then when I have time, I create. So it's much more manageable. And but yeah, honestly, I would say it's all thanks to Sacred Heart Valley, the GOTC, honestly, because it's like I needed to find that, I needed to bridge that gap, because that gap, I was so used to that gap for so many years, right? And I would be hard on myself. I really would be. And then it kind of, I think in that impatience, then I would kind of doubt more. And then I would be like, the self-worthiness, I would kind of doubt, right? And I would kind of put my value in other people, of like, um, if like I did art and then nothing was happening, I would kind of give my power away to others and like what their opinions were, what they thought. But now it's just like reining it back in and being like, no, what does the heart want to express? What wants to come through? What wants to be created? And knowing that that would be received by the right person at the right time. So it's just, yeah, it's just that extension of love through creativity, and just showing up through creativity to be of heart service and healing. And then when I do my art, it helps to like heal humanity as well. So it's just, yeah. So I think I've made more peace now with the impatience and patience as one, like bridging the two together in harmony. Yeah. In quantum light speed now. It's like, yeah. I can see it. It's just like, yeah, recalibrating. Yeah, it's just, and like you said, bringing that awareness, that mindfulness, it really changes and shifts and transforms. So, yeah.
Thank you, Carl, for a beautiful share.
Yeah.
I do have a few topics. Like, since that we are so good in doing like, like from impatient to self-regulate, and then to witness ourselves to self-awareness, so that we can get out of that, right? Because when we're aware, we so quickly to snatch out, not to be in that impatient energy. But of course, when people do these, when a lot of people tune into a recording or replay, that we also wanted to bring some of these little topics that I'm prepared today. I did prepare today because I felt that is I wanted to expand on this conversation so that to get people also understanding a little bit of where some people may not know they are impatient. They're just always angry. So the little bit of this mini question or topic that I wanted to bring in is the impatient symptom. So that can be like physical, emotional. So let's share a little bit of this impatient symptom or the body, like our physical and emotion of what we aware, let's say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a kind of rising energy, this impatience, you know. It's like you know, fire burning higher to me. So it's you feel tension in the body, that something wants to move, and as it can't express, there's this kind of rising kind of anger is you're getting more angry because you think, why can't you be quicker, for instance, yeah, or why can't they do it like that, or why can't I do it like this, yeah. And so yeah, you feel the tension in the body. I feel like you know, translated.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's so cool that because Carl was talking about patient and passion, right? Balance. And when you do, you just like, oh, you need to when you just so it's balanced out. So, oh, I like that. Just a little bit of like joke here, but it is true, right? So because you do yoga, do a lot of the and you do chanting and mantra and all of that. So that is that.
Yeah, funny. With me, it's not so much the we use the but we use what I love too is we use the hum, and the hum is very good. Hum is very good.
Hum.
Hum is very good. Very healthy.
Is the root or the heart? Hum. Hum.
Like the hummingbird, you know, when hum.
Yeah. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, hum. And this is a wonderful vibration that goes through the body. It's very healing, and by humming, I think you also take in a lot of nitric oxide, which is very healthy. It's very beneficial just to hum. Yeah.
For me, that I recognize on my physical body is like my breathing and getting faster. Because when you're impatient, you literally out of breath feeling. Because you closed up, you started to control.
Yeah, your breath is like with every kind of stress symptom.
Yes.
That the breath automatically gets faster and it's more shallow.
Yes.
You don't breathe into the belly. So this is always, you know, when we're stressed, and patience is a kind of stress thing, you know, we want something different than it is. And now, so then breathing, long, deep breathing, of course, you know, brings us back to the body and to what's there, you know.
Yeah, to reconnect back to the body. So yeah, so I realized that this physical is like not really shortness of breath, but you become fast breathing, like very shallow, and then you contract, like you started to be control. Where is it? No, right? So that is like you become very control. So for me to really, when I feel on this contraction, I literally release. So I can, whether it's physical relief or I just don't want to do whatever that is triggered of this control or, you know, contraction that I could feel into my solar plexus, I would just do something else. Because when I have this, sometimes it's not, when we focus so much in the whole like rabbit hole, right? Sometimes it's actually outside is more expansion than what is actually going in. So when I release that and you feel into this, you know, I don't have to control anymore. And sometimes this problem in this rabbit hole, it's just no longer there. It's either disappeared or smaller problem. It's not a big problem. Because when we impatient, we inject all of this fire in this little hole, and then this little hole getting smaller, and then you outburst. So that is how I describe it. And also it's good for your heart as well. So because it's fast turning and this flow of the blood pumping. So the heart is good for the heart when you release that control and surrender and letting go. So that is how I can see this physical and inside and outside. And also with this emotion as well, like when you could feel that you're changing the mood.
Yeah, and I think it's great that you can say, oh, I can just release it. I understand that it's very difficult for many of us just to say, okay, I see it's no good, so I release it. Yeah, I think it's easier to really work with the body and really say, okay, I notice this now. I take a deep breath. And that takes me out without having to say, okay, now I decide to do this, you know? It's just easier. You take yourself out in a very gentle way. Yeah.
I'm all about breathing, because when you can breathe, it's usually reconnect back and the breath, more oxygen, and it's clear. When you have full oxygen in the body,
absolutely,
it's really clear. And you know that, okay, I don't really need that. I can ask somebody else. I can break into more chunk a little bit. Just like I said, I go to the boss, I go to the person that is not taking, like, not even submission. I said, whether there's a paper, whether there is something that I can help you to fast track. But the thing is, like, you need to, like, I would say that if this is the way, okay, you do it. So I'm not the person who go and do it. I used to. So I do other people things, which is not supposed to be mine. Yeah. So I said that, well, you can see that this can work. Why don't you do that? I said, oh yeah, I can do that. So that's it. It's sort of like get them to break down, because they are busy too. You break down really easy. And then once it's done for your team members, you don't need to worry.
Yeah, you see, and sometimes it's not the big thing. Sometimes we get impatient with ourselves or others about very little things. And then it's sometimes just to see, okay, is this little thing really worth it now? I get
That's why I finish out. And then I said, oh no, actually, that is not important. Why am I going into so deep? Right? I said, okay, that's not important. It's okay. And then you do something else. And actually even faster. You do everything even like more productive, let's say. So yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's really when you notice this, say, take a deep breath and then think, okay, what is the situation now in it? And I noticed, for instance, I had to be in a meeting, 2-hour meeting, none of my business really, the subject. And so I was thinking, oh, boring. And then these people, some of them were asking, you know, how we are sometimes. We want to be heard. We want to feel important. Yeah. And this playing out there. And so, and other people saying, oh God, what a question. Oh no, look at the watch. And then I was thinking, okay, whoop. So how can I look at this here? What can I take out from this? What can I take with me from here? And I say, okay, I choose now to observe. I look at the person. I see what's behind, what's the need behind their talk now. I see, okay, I look at the presenter. Interesting. How do they stand there? How do they talk? Okay, I might not do it like that, but this is interesting. Okay, this is not too bad. Like to see, okay, what is it that I can take out of this situation? And yeah, this is possible after taking a breath, of course.
It's just like you receiving what you need. You're receiving what you need, usually.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that when you talk having these work meeting, because I have the same thing too, like as the nature of my job is also attending on behalf of the boss or attending with the boss. And sometimes just like do I have to be in here for 3-4 hours or sometimes the whole day? I can do something more, right? Productive. And a lot of the times that I will get, when I look at the meeting, I'll say, okay, it's just not priority. And I said, that, can you record the meeting? Because nowadays, team chat or team meeting, you can record. And I said, I can't attend this meeting. I have something more priority to do. Can you record this meeting for me? And then after the meeting, obviously you receive the recording, you actually need to create time to listen, right?
Yeah.
But I'll ask my colleague, do I actually, so I'll just say, can you brief me what's in the meeting? And then they said this, and that. Do I have to listen to the recording? Actually, you know what? You don't need to be there.
That was the most
That's
important
how I do
question
it.
of the day.
Yeah, sometimes I don't really need to, even though the recording is there, I don't even need to listen because do I need to know anything? Is there any action that I need? So no, there's no action. Fine. Means the meeting is just for me to sit there. I don't need to be there. So that's it. File away my
Yeah.
recording.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's leadership.
That's how I do it.
You know, sometimes we act in a way because we think others expect us
Yes.
to do this in that way.
Mm.
And then it's time sometimes to question this. Is this really necessary? Is it really me?
Mm.
Yeah. Is it really now? Is it really?
And that is also coming with these very strong boundaries, right? So with this patient, I could see that if the boundaries is not strong, you are pulling apart consecutively, but it is a
Yeah.
pain, right? And then
Yeah.
you obviously starting to get you will get different impatient of different, let's say different dynamic in the team, or it just you will become impatient because everything is deadlined. And then, everything you need to do, everything you need to action. And then this is like, if there's no strong boundaries and to knowing that what you need to do or prioritize. And that is really difficult. I think it's like very challenging. So, yeah. So what I was doing onto this just now, like asking the recording is also set my boundaries really strong. Which is that I can get a piece of this recording. And then that is another piece of boundaries is that do I have to actually listen to it? Do I have to be using my 2 hours to sit there and listen to something that may not be nothing to do with me? There's no action that I need. So yeah, so that is set a really strong boundaries. That is the piece of mind for this, create this, don't be frustrated of myself, but to bring out the goodness of myself. Yeah, so that is peace of mind.
Yeah, it's also, boundaries also, it's self-worth. It's saying, okay, is my precious lifetime really so cheap that I have to go to that meeting now, Yeah, which drains the energy out of me. If I sit there and there's nothing I can do because I have to pay attention to something that is totally irrelevant, I think there's almost nothing which is more draining, and afterwards, I would need a holiday, but I have to work, so it's the best thing you can do.
Wellness, tying into the wellness.
Yeah.
Tying into this wellness chamber. Like all the chambers in my mind. So at the moment reflecting on this, of course, it is also this mental health. Because it will get burnt out very quickly as well. So yeah, if we don't set the boundaries very strong. Yeah. And also we have
Yeah. And you feel, you can feel when you're not patient, because when you know how it feels to be patient. When you're patient, then you're calm in the body, you feel relaxed, you feel kind of clear. Your breath flows relatively nice and deeply. And yeah, and you just can receive what wants to come in that moment.
Yeah, I see.
And you notice, am I calm now? How's my breath? Am I clear? Then no? Okay, so something would like to be tweaked.
Feel good.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to share, Kyle, about all of this that we share? You can jump in.
No, Andrea is like hitting everything on, like, it's just yeah, makes bringing the awareness and her wisdom. It's like, yeah, it makes sense. Thank you. Yeah.
So we talk about a lot about the work, right? With colleagues because we spend in the or retail or whatever it is, just colleague and you know, days are we're spending about at least 8 hours a day, 7 to 8 hours a day at work, and to face different people. So now I would love to shift the gear to patient in relationship. All kind of relationships. I think that Andrea already pointed out straight away about family, and I really like that because it's so like nature that as a mom that wanted to be the best for my kids, and obviously you don't get to receive because they will ask you like, especially my kids, why do we have to do like this? It's always the why the question, right? So I know that it is a challenge. It's a challenge for me as well, like at home, but I will present my voice and what my thoughts to them in my own way. And whether they receive or not, and that is their call. So for me, because I have 2 teenagers, so I'm not gonna force them to listen to me. But I know that I'm sitting in that field, and there will be like maybe after 10 years, oh, I remember my mom told me that. So that is where it's coming from when they're up to that, you sort of like can be received. So teenagers is really hard. And I've been there before. We all been teenagers before. But every generation is different because we are not in our teenagers' shoes. We don't know what their environment is. So we have it as internal, like we know it as we journey as our level. And then our parents actually doing a lot of like, knowing from the parents, teaching from parents. But the kids nowadays is just like very open-minded and social media and iPad, YouTube, TikTok, and all of that is the information is free. Is a lot of the things around that they are also have this impatient in them. So I also wanted to acknowledge all these kids and children and also teenagers especially in their teen, like from like, I don't know, like 10 to 20, that impatient is like, I have to say that my kids in school, they do have this like yoga and meditation, but whether they're themselves actually willing to really sit, because patient is you sit there and and look at it and do it. You just like, look at it and then scroll and then look at the t-shirt. This is really impatient. It's a symptom. I don't really want to say symptom, but it's a sign of impatience. It's a sign of also like being also this anger in them as well. Being sometimes they close it up, they don't want to talk about it. And when at home, when they're being triggered, there will be outburst. So I will always tell my kids when I think one of them, I think last week they outburst, and I would ask them, I said, what is the issues here? And I will sit down with him to really go through. But again, he doesn't want to do it. Because he actually know that I'm very good. He doesn't want to do it. So it's a lot of like in denial. So I know all of these in denial energy because I was one of them as well, and literally have to face it. So it's just not the right time. So just acknowledge them that, this is like, it's not very good. It's actually harmful for them. It's harmful for their body. It's harmful for their thoughts. So yeah. So at least my message is across. Instead of saying, don't do this, don't do that, right? But it just really let them know that whatever they do, not to harm yourself. By have this action or by this communication, the way to communicate, essentially humble for yourself first. Other people can go away and forget about you. But are you really feeling good by doing this?
Hmm.
So yeah, so that is what I can do as a parent. I just bring across of that message. That is all. I think that is enough for them to contemplate, and they definitely can remember what I say along the way.
Yeah, same here. I've got a teenage daughter. So, and of course, the older they get, you can't say you need to do this, da da da. You can't force them. And I mean, you want them to be kind of not independent to be interdependent. You know what I mean? So grow up. So you can't really grow up and not just follow a leader blindly if you haven't learned to make your own decisions somehow. So yeah, of course, seeding, saying, oh yeah, quote someone who said something very useful or share an insight. I mean, this is what we do. And then afterwards, much later, and maybe something might come out of it. Yes, that's what we do. And I think it's always good, like you do, Lilian. Remember, I mean, when I was a teenager, I had a hard time and gave my parents a hard time. Yes, that's what we do. And we don't want to talk, and they are uncool, and they don't understand. And of course, I mean, I think we as moms, we are quite understanding. Yeah, because we have done a lot of work. So yeah, and this is what we need. We can just try to have a little influence and tell them, look, this device trains you to not focus. It trains you, of course. And when you're not focused, it's the same. You don't have patience. You can't stay with one thing. Yeah. So it's much more difficult for them to be patient than it was for us then.
Yeah.
And to see that it's the circumstances too. Yeah.
I also remind myself all the time when I snitch, when my kids are, I said, you, like me, right? I only start doing work when I'm 40. So my kids is only 14. They have long time to play.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that is how the human experience, right? I was like, it's okay, let them play, let me experience all of that. When they're up to 40, they will know the pain, basically, the pain.
Yeah, but of course, we as good moms, we want them to benefit from it much earlier, so they make the right choices earlier. And so what can you do?
Like my family is literally like half the way for me, right? I can very aware, like with me, I become the eldest, and then second, my sister and my brother, and also the other cousin. It's sort of like, I don't know, other Asian, I think most of the Asian, I said, that the parents said that I don't have luxury of this ABC, whether time or anything. I now can do it for you. Then this is what you do is the best for you. You just follow, right? And the things that when you follow so long, you don't know what you want. Just like what you say.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I used to just follow. It's kind of imprinted somehow in your culture, in your society, that in that you see what's around you, that's normal, and that's what you tend to follow.
Exactly.
That's the kind of programming that you have. And then of course, when you're a teenager, then you sometimes question stuff and go in a different direction. Sometimes you don't even do that, and you just follow the path and have the same ideals that your parents had. Like my age, the people didn't have so different ideas than their parents. They said, yeah, have a job, have a house, have a family, and 2-3 kids. That was it. Yeah, that's what you were thinking. Yes, that's the right thing.
Yeah. That is a lot, isn't it? Like with this patience code is actually expand out to a lot of different area of the life, because I don't think that people really talk and unpack of these patients, because it impact our life deeply.
Yes, and also I think with patience, it's like people tend to say, "Oh, I'm just not patient.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then
I'm not patient."
yeah,
And
and then
that's it. That's
full
me,
stop.
and I will never change. And many people are not open to that. They think, "Oh yeah, I used to be more impatient, and now I'm more patient." Thing, you know. I mean, I'm a living being. I can also say, "Oh, I used to be patient, but now I'm more impatient for whatever reason." You know, it's just that you notice this. I, as a living being, I change, and in every aspect of my life, I change. Sometimes just a little, and sometimes a lot. And it's the same with patience. Yeah.
I really loved our conversation today. How do you have anything to add on?
No, it's beautiful.
He's impatient. He wants to leave.
Oh, oh no,
No, that was a joke, Kaya. You're sitting
no,
there
but
like a Zen Buddhist. You know, you're sitting there like pure patience. So that was just a joke of mine.
no, it is 2 a.m. now, but yeah, it's like wanting to like
Sleep.
go to sleep. Yeah, but no, it's good. It's what's it
Recalibrate.
called? Creating a new reference. Yeah, so it's good. It's good, especially honestly, from the more like I would say nurturing, genuine feminine energies of both of you, of like what I am kind of used to during my everyday today life with like I call like everyday people. So it's nice to see the contrast, the polarity, the gratitude and appreciation for it is like the expanded consciousness, you know? And I think it's just so much more appreciation to Sacred Heart Valley and the GOTC of like why we do what we do. And just understanding things a lot better now in like helping humanity. And just kind of being in more of that neutral, non-judgmental, but meeting people where they are and just holding space of us being in our hearts and in that love energy. So I think it's very nurturing for me, and I think that's why I just get like more calm, like calmer and more peaceful when we do like our sacred time together. So it's really good. It's really nurturing and I love it. So yeah. So thank you both for what you do and continue to do. And yeah, it's noticed and appreciated and it's real. Yeah. Thank you.
So
Thank you
Andrea,
for coming.
before we close, we will like, I mean, I would like all of us to bring just one tips for people about if people feeling impatient. So just one tips to take away. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, just when you feel, just pay attention to your body. That's one thing. You know, it's just when you notice, something's contracting, I feel this tension in me, and then think, okay, whenever I feel this something rising, then I take a breath. Or I can just rub my fingertips together. And very gently.
Yeah, I feel into this when we rub into these fingers, is reconnect back to the skin, reconnect back to ourselves, like present.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the breath normalizes automatically.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So for me is the tips that I given to the tips that I have for everybody is to have this capacity to acceptance. So that will expand ourselves little by little. It's not like really huge expansion. You can have this huge expansion, but most of the time that when we build the capacity to accept, it's just moving this needle one by one, slowly. So that is my tip is acceptance. So yeah, instead of fighting whatever it is, but just accept. So yeah, by accepting, by acknowledging, and just allowed the compassion rising. So yeah. So when the compassion rising, we literally connect to our heart, and the breath will be connected anyway in that way, and slow down and move slower, speak slower. Yeah. And then it's really good tie into this, so I was actually slowly rubbing on this. So the tips from like Andrea is so good. Thank you so much, Andrea. And what is one tips from you?
It's like I can't formulate it to one, but well, I could do in like the oneness of it. So I think for me, of my own experiences, not thinking too much of the future, because then that creates anxiety and stress. It's like pulls your energy away, like from the present moment. So it's bringing yourself back, and it's like redirecting that energy and opening the conversation, like with patience, asking patience what it has to teach you, forming that relationships of like talking to patience and impatience as a person, and being like giving it attention and awareness so that you're able to feel it, to heal it. I think that worked for me. And it's just those constant reminders that it does have something to teach us and tell us. That, like, for me, it's like when I get like for like impatience in trying to be patient with creative ideas, it's definitely telling me to create, but it's just taking the time to sit with it, to become still in the discomfort, so then it can move through and then move out through my hands to the paper. So I feel an all-encompassing is to express in whatever works for you through like dance, song, drawing, painting, creating artwork, or like making stuff, to like let it express itself, and then you're able to kind of feel more patience in that impatient while things are building that momentum for what's meant for you. Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. So it's just building those of the blocks, right? Like it's all part of the greater whole, but it's like doing our part and what we can handle at the moment. But it does make a difference. So I think, yeah, and like you said, with compassion, being very compassionate with yourself, because it will all align, and it's all for a greater purpose and higher learning and understanding. So yeah, but once you get it, and you can't unget it because you got it.
That's beautiful. I love this. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for everybody. So for Andrea and Kyle to present is my promise to self patient. And so now I can say it patiently. And well, I think that we bring this gathering to the end. And thank you so much to present yourself beautifully here. And I honor you.
Oh,
Mm,
yeah. Thank you so much, Lilian.
Thank you.
It
I'll
was,
see you.
thanks for inviting me. And yeah, it was lovely. And always a pleasure with you. Thank you very much. And love to have you here, Kyle, as well. So nice.
Good, amazing to see you, Andrea. Always wisdom, your wisdom. Yes, always appreciate it. And thank you,
Big
Lilian.
hug.
Thank you, everybody. I will see you all next month for the next card. All right.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
Bye. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night, Kyle.
Good night.
Bye.